Every day, someone judges you. Someone misunderstands your intentions. Someone decides they don't like you. Maybe they never tell you, maybe they do. Either way, you feel it. A single criticism can stay in your mind for days. One harsh opinion can erase 100 compliments. You replay conversations. You wonder what you should have said. You imagine proving them wrong. Or worse, you begin changing yourself just to earn the approval of people who were never going to understand you in the first place. It's a prison, not because people judge you, but because you hand them the keys to your peace. The strange part is, most of the people whose opinions haunt us rarely think about us at all. Yet we allow their words to shape our confidence, their approval to determine our happiness, their rejection to define our worth. Nearly 2,000 years ago, the most powerful man in the world wrote something that could free you from this invisible prison. Not a king obsessed with power, not a celebrity chasing admiration, but a Roman emperor who understood that even unlimited authority couldn't control other people's opinions. Marcus Aurelius reminded himself of a simple Stoic truth, a truth that has survived centuries because it speaks to every generation. Someone despises me, that's their problem. Whether or not those are his exact recorded words, they perfectly capture the Stoic principle he lived by. At first, it sounds cold, almost arrogant, but it's neither. It's one of the most liberating ideas you'll ever hear, because hidden inside this sentence is a way to stop giving strangers control over your emotions. Tonight, you'll learn a simple 3-step Stoic practice you can use whenever criticism, rejection, or hatred begins stealing your peace. But first, you need to understand why one of history's greatest rulers spent so much time reminding himself not to care about applause or insults. Marcus Aurelius wasn't an ordinary philosopher. He was the emperor of Rome, the most powerful man on earth, an empire stretching across continents. Millions of people under his rule, generals awaiting his commands, crowds cheering his arrival. From the outside, it looked like the perfect life: power, respect, wealth, influence. Everything most people spend their lives chasing. But Marcus Aurelius knew something that few people ever realize. Power cannot protect you from pain. Fame cannot silence criticism. Success cannot stop people from misunderstanding you. Even as emperor, he faced betrayal, wars that lasted for years, disease sweeping through his empire, the loss of people he loved, political enemies waiting for him to fail. Every day brought another challenge, another reason to become bitter, another excuse to hate the world. Yet instead of blaming others, he looked inward. Every night, Marcus wrote private notes to himself. Not for fame, not for publication. He never intended anyone to read them. Those personal reflections would later become one of history's greatest books, Meditations. It wasn't written to impress anyone. It was written to remind one man how to remain calm in a world that refused to cooperate. Again and again, Marcus returned to the same lesson. You cannot control how people see you. You cannot control what they say behind your back. You cannot control whether someone appreciates your kindness or mistakes it for weakness. But you can always control the person you choose to become. Think about that. Most of us spend years trying to manage our reputation. Marcus spent his life managing his character, because reputation lives in someone else's mind. Character lives in your own. Imagine holding a mirror. Now imagine trying to clean someone else's reflection instead of cleaning your own face. It would be impossible. Yet that's exactly what we do whenever we obsess over other people's opinions. We chase an image that exists only in someone else's thoughts, and no matter how hard we try, we can never fully control it. Marcus understood this better than anyone as emperor. Some people admired him, others despised him. Some believed he was wise, others believed he was weak. If the ruler of the greatest empire in the world couldn't make everyone approve of him, what makes us believe we can? This realization wasn't depressing, it was liberating. Because the moment you stop trying to control how others judge you, you recover something priceless. Your peace. And that leads to one of the most important Stoic lessons ever taught. There are things that belong to you, and there are things that never did. Confusing the two is where suffering begins. Imagine carrying a mirror everywhere you go. Not to see yourself, but to see what everyone else thinks of you. Every compliment makes the reflection brighter. Every insult cracks the glass. Every judgment changes the image staring back at you soon. You no longer know who you really are. You only know the version of yourself that exists inside other people's minds. This is how many people live. Not according to their values, but according to other people's approval. They dress to be accepted. They speak to avoid criticism. They hide their opinions to escape rejection. They slowly trade authenticity for acceptance, and they call it happiness. Marcus Aurelius would have called it slavery. Not slavery to change, but slavery to opinion. Think about how much of your day is shaped by invisible audiences. You hesitate before posting online. You replay conversations after they end. You wonder if your coworkers secretly dislike you. You worry that your friends are judging your choices. You fear disappointing people. Most of these fears never become reality, yet they steal your peace anyway. Why? Because your imagination is arguing with people who aren't even in the room. Marcus understood something extraordinary. People don't see reality. They see their interpretation of reality. Two people can meet the exact same person. One calls them kind, the other calls them weak. One admires their confidence, another calls it arrogance. Who is correct? Perhaps neither. Because each person is looking through the lens of their own experiences, their own fears, their own expectations. The judgment says as much about the observer as it does about the person being observed. Imagine standing before 10 painters. Ask each one to paint your portrait. Would every painting look identical? Of course not. Each artist notices something different. Each emphasizes different features. Each creates a different version of you. Now ask yourself, which portrait is the real you? None of them, their interpretations. The same is true of people's opinions. Every opinion is painted through the brush of another person's mind. So why do we spend our lives trying to control pictures we never painted? The Stoics believed that chasing universal approval is impossible. No matter what you do, someone will criticize you. Speak too much, you're arrogant. Speak too little, you're timid. Work hard, you're obsessed. Rest, you're lazy. Become successful, you're lucky. Fail, you deserved it. The standards keep changing because they were never yours to satisfy. Marcus Aurelius refused to build his identity on something so unstable. Instead, he asked a different question. Not do they like me, but did I act with integrity? Notice the difference. The first question depends on strangers. The second depends on you. One creates anxiety, the other creates freedom. This doesn't mean becoming cold or pretending criticism never matters. Wise criticism can help us grow. Constructive feedback can reveal our blind spots. The Stoics never rejected learning. They rejected surrendering their peace. There's a difference. Listen carefully. If someone points out a genuine flaw, be grateful. Improve. If someone insults you without reason, leave the insult with its owner. Why carry someone else's burden? Imagine a stranger walks toward you, holding a sack of rocks. They offer it to you. Do you have to accept it? Of course not. Then why accept every insult, every hateful comment, every unfair judgment as though it belongs to you? It doesn't. The moment you stop picking up what was never yours, you become lighter. Not because the world has changed, but because you have. And once you understand that, something remarkable happens. You stop chasing approval. You stop fearing rejection. You stop living as a prisoner of other people's opinions for the first time. You begin living according to your own. Understanding Stoicism is one thing. Living it is something else entirely. Marcus Aurelius knew that philosophy wasn't meant to stay inside books. It was meant to prepare you for ordinary moments, the harsh comment, the unexpected rejection, the misunderstanding, the rumor, the criticism that arrives without warning. These are the moments that reveal whether your peace belongs to you or to everyone else. The next time someone insults you, don't react immediately. Don't defend yourself. Don't replay the words over and over. Instead, practice this simple 3-step Stoic exercise. It takes less than a minute, but it can change the rest of your day. Step 1. Pause. Take one slow breath. Create a small space between the event and your response. Most people react before they think. The Stoics trained themselves to think before they reacted. That tiny pause is where your freedom lives. Step to ask yourself one question. Does this opinion change who I truly am? If someone calls an honest person dishonest, does honesty disappear? If someone calls a kind person cruel, does kindness vanish? Of course not. An opinion is not a fact. It is simply another person's judgment. Do not confuse the two. Step 3. Return your attention to what you control. Ask yourself, did I act according to my values? If the answer is yes, walk away with peace. If the answer is no, correct your mistake, learn, grow, then let it go. Either way, you win because your character improves, not your reputation. And character is the only one that truly belongs to you. Imagine how different your life would feel if every insult stopped at your ears instead of reaching your heart. Imagine going through an entire week without checking whether everyone approves of you. Imagine making decisions because they are right, not because they are popular. That is the freedom Marcus Aurelius was pointing toward, not a life without criticism. A life that is no longer controlled by it. The ocean doesn't stop producing waves. The mountain doesn't argue with the wind. The sun doesn't ask for permission to rise. Nature simply does what it was created to do. The Stoics believed you should live the same way, not by becoming indifferent, but by becoming steady, calm, grounded, unshaken by every passing opinion. Because if your happiness depends on everyone liking you, your happiness is no longer yours. You've handed it away. Marcus Aurelius understood something most of us spend years learning. The person who constantly seeks approval will never receive enough of it. The person who lives by virtue needs very little approval at all. That doesn't mean people will never reject you. They will. It doesn't mean you'll never be misunderstood. You will. It doesn't mean criticism will disappear. It won't, but none of those things have the power to define you, unless you hand them that power. So the next time someone despises you, pause, remember what belongs to them, and what belongs to you, their opinion, belongs to them. Your character belongs to you. Protect the one that is truly yours. Because in the end, the greatest victory isn't convincing the world to admire you. It's reaching the point where you no longer need it, and perhaps the person whose opinion has been imprisoning you all along was never your enemy. Never the stranger, never the critic, but the voice inside your own mind that believed your worth could be decided by someone else.